Very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Broom with the CBC Evening News. In our top story tonight, the residents of Durance Village, St. James, received the shock of their lives this morning. They woke up to the news that their 74-year-old neighbor had died from a gunshot wound. Kareem Smith has that story.
According to police, Bibiana Damien Ballantyne resided alone and was last seen by his son, Rudy, at 2 p.m. on Monday. His son later revisited him at 6:25 on the same day and discovered his lifeless body lying on the floor with a gunshot injury. When CBC visited, a number of police were still on the scene as well as his son, a tearful Rudy Ballantyne, who was too upset to comment on camera. However, neighbor of 30 years, Meredith Hines, admits he hasn't spoken to Mr. Ballantyne for some time, but described him as a quiet man who for the most part kept to himself.
It was a shock. We weren't close, but it was a very cordial, pleasant relationship. I haven't spoken to him in a while. I know that the last time that I intimately spoke to him was when he and his son had disagreed and he put him out. My wife and I, we went over and spoke with him then, but that was years ago.
Two weather systems combined to produce heavy rain over Barbados today, and the scene along the Upper Westmoreland, Upper Carlton stretch of the ABC Highway, CBC has been informed, was flooded, and motorists had to gingerly make their way through flooded streets. Now, from all reports, it was much the same across Barbados. In fact, just before 5 o'clock, the Met Office issued a flood warning for Barbados, which it says will remain in effect until further notice. It also said that Barbadians can expect as much as 5 inches of rain over the next few days. But we'll hear more later in the CBC Evening News when Carrie-Ann O'Neill joins us in the weather segment. Police are trying to determine just how an 82-year-old visitor died at Rockley Beach in Christchurch. According to police, around 2:45, the lifeguard on duty was alerted that the Canadian was lying on the sand unresponsive. CPR was performed and an ambulance summoned. The visitor was rushed to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, where he subsequently died. Come next year, the Barbados Coalition of Service Industries, or BCSI, will be rolling out a tracking mechanism to monitor the export of services. Executive Director Graham Clark says this falls in line with its goal of boosting export and will also make it easier to record that data.
We are going to be introducing a tracking mechanism for services. As you know, it is very easy to track the exports of goods because there's an invoice coming out of port of entry and or at a leave from a port of entry, you're able to track these things. But we feel like if you cannot measure it, you can't really manage the process, and we want to get that tracking mechanism in place and to ensure that we will work with all of our partners on the ground.
This disclosure came at the launch of Services Week 2017, which will run from November 10th until the 12th, along with an entrepreneurship workshop and a cultural industry showcase. Mr. Clark says a digital strategy forum has also been planned.
One of the things that we've also noticed is that the penetration rates for our service providers in the international marketplace is very, very low. And one of the things that we want to do is to enhance exports. That's part of our mandate. So we've recognized that it is not enough just to have an online presence, but to have a digital strategy that is linked towards building an online community.
Germany is helping countries like Barbados in the area of disaster risk management, given the importance of the renewable energy sector to the island's future. Head of projects at the GIZ, Matthias Range, says in these times, some areas are forgotten as attention is placed on climate risk insurance in the agriculture sector to the disadvantage of others. Mr. Range was speaking on the sidelines of a workshop on integrated climate risk management for the renewable energy sector at the Marriott Courtyard Hotel.
We see that climate risk is a real fact for most of our partner countries, and we've seen the whole political and private industry discussion on climate risk and climate risk insurance only very much focusing on the agricultural sector and neglecting all the other sectors which are out there, and that's why the German government commissioned us to look into other sectors such as urban resilience, SME parks, and also renewable energy.
Executive Director of the Barbados Renewable Energy Association, Misha Clark, says disaster risk management strategies should be included in any national development agenda which has renewable energy at its core.
If the renewable energy sector is to play a critical role in the economic repositioning of small island developing states like Barbados and spearhead mitigation strategies to reduce our country's level of carbon emissions and enhance efficiency towards more sustainable development practices, it is important that in the context of disaster risk management, we begin to focus our discussions on how disaster risk management strategies like that of insurance can begin to foster a greater level of resilience and sustainability.
The company responsible for rolling out the ePay system with one of the local credit unions is lobbying government to make it easier to pay bills. That's according to Chief Executive Officer of eSolutions, Dwayne Roach. The ePay system will allow people, through an app on their mobile phones, to pay taxes and other government-related expenses.
We have had discussions with the government on e-payment initiatives for the collection, for instance, of taxes and stuff via the app, and our ministers and stuff have been very receptive to the idea, so hopefully we should be seeing some progress on that very soon.
And while not giving an exact amount, Mr. Roach says it costs over $500,000 to roll out the ePay platform. He adds, however, there is a high demand for this type of service given the advancement in technology.
Most of the millennials now, you're not going to find them like myself especially. We're not going into a line and stand up and make payments. The preference is to go the easiest route. And the easiest route right now is to roll over and take up my mobile phone and do all my transactions right there. And COB's customer base is surprisingly packed with a lot of millennials. So we expect that it's going to be quite a hit with them. And you'll see it probably repeating itself across the movement as you go into some of the other credit unions as well.
Well, coming up, we'll tell you about a student entrepreneurship program. Stay with us.
It started with my love for making things. That became a business. And when I wanted to expand, I chose a partner that could help me build on my vision. A partner that made growing my business easier with fewer steps. That's banking that starts with me.
It starts with you. Scotiabank.
We listened to what you had to say and tore up the old rules because losing what you paid for is just wrong. Now lost data and talk are a thing of the past. Only Digicel gives you unlimited rollover data and talk. Just buy and renew your Quick Pick bundle before it expires and keep what's rightfully yours. Never lose what you don't use. Go to My Digicel app to bundle up and roll over today. Digicel.
Help support the restoration efforts for the hundreds of thousands affected by catastrophic hurricanes. Donate to the Red Cross Hurricane Relief account at any branch of the following: CIBC First Caribbean, account number 10011633436. First Citizens, 500-900-00588. RBC Royal Bank, 210-05073. And Republic Bank, 01804-153-1001. Monies raised will be sent to the International Red Cross for its restoration work for affected persons. Appeal closes 30th November 2017. Persons wishing to post checks should make these out to Red Cross Hurricane Relief Appeal Account and post to Barbados Red Cross Society, P.O. Box 300 Bridgetown, or hand deliver to the Red Cross Warrens Headquarters. The Barbados Red Cross and commercial banks, on behalf of the victims of catastrophic hurricanes, thank all persons and businesses for their contributions.
Police have seized 2,261 cannabis plants following drug eradication operations in several St. John communities. The plants range between 3 and 4 feet. In Henley, 1,050 plants were seized. In Cherry Grove, 429. In Bowmanston, 531. Pool Land, 189. And Malvern, 62 plants. No arrests have been made. Parents are being encouraged to support their children in pursuing non-traditional careers. This from Entrepreneurs in Action's Chief Executive Officer Derek Brown as he addressed the awards reception for the Classroom to Boardroom or C2B program. Mr. Brown, who is also a course facilitator, was impressed with the students' work over the week. He wants to see young people focus on more innovative and technologically based careers.
And what I ask you is to allow some of these people to be free, young people to be free, because we don't need any more lawyers in Barbados. We don't need any more accountants. What we need are innovators. If we generate and create innovators, and we can have entrepreneurs, but we need people to solve problems. And you've got to take a deep breath and think, I know it might not sound right, but how can I let them free and do something that may be slightly different?
24 students from sixth form schools and tertiary institutions successfully completed the week's training in the C2B program. It's an initiative by the Barbados Entrepreneurship Foundation, the Rotary Club of Barbados, and Yellow, whose Chief Executive Officer Colin Francis had this advice for the participants.
You are meant to be leaders, and you need to believe that you were meant to be leaders, and the training and the practice that you've received over the last week is well on its way to ensuring you are prepared for leadership roles down the road.
Despite some challenges, the efforts to continue developing Barbados's film and video industry are continuing in earnest. This is according to Vice President of the Barbados Film and Video Association, Ramel Hall. His comments came as the Barbados Visual Media Festival officially starts today.
And this year, the festival is in its 4th year and is running from October the 24th to the 29th. And we have a wide variety of films, 32 films from 10 countries.
Well, he also talked about some of the things the public can look forward to during the festival this week.
This year is particularly exciting because for the first time we have a film that was created for the festival, which is a film that I created, a documentary on Winston Hall called Hall, simply Hall. And that's going to be the feature film for this year. It's going to be shown on the opening night, and then it's going to show on the closing night. But outside of that, there are a wide variety of Barbadian films. We have Barrow Freedom Fighter, we have Abiola, which is another film that I did. We have films from the 48-hour challenge where some filmmakers, we give them some criteria and they put together some films, some 6-minute films in 48 hours. And this year, it is a winner take all pot. So the winner of the 48-hour challenge will get $4,800.
Barbados's aging population is not only putting stress on the national insurance scheme, but the phenomenon could also affect the country as it presses ahead with healthcare financing. The matter is one Chief Executive Officer of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Dr. Dexter James, wants officials to take into consideration. By the year 2025, Barbados could have more people over the age of 65 compared with those under 14. Well, currently, Dr. James says the island is experiencing what he termed a collision of supply and demand forces and is driving up the cost of health care. Dr. James' comments came during the 5th annual Public Accountability meeting at the Hilton Barbados. The meeting focused on the topic, is a national health insurance scheme a viable model for sustaining health care in Barbados?
We understand that the drivers of the demand for and cost of services has outstripped the availability of resources. And there are many factors driving it. An aging population, the need for changes in technology. 17% of our operating costs are outside of our control. We do not control the cost of drugs, medical supplies, technology, and technology refresh. Whatever the market says, at the price of those items, we are forced to accept those prices as price takers.
And Dr. James says there are several advantages to a stable national health insurance scheme.
It provides a stable source of revenue because it is a direct charge from those who are employed. It goes into an independent fund, and therefore the revenues are predictable. The flow of funds to the sector is visible. So it goes into the fund, and providers are credentialed, and they receive the payments for services provided. It is independent from the government, and generally it combines risk pooling with mutual support.
And still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across the region.
It's your favorite time of year again when everyone is cleaning and fixing and painting. So, are you holiday ready? Harris Paints is celebrating 45 years of color. Get 45% off all Perma products, 30% off all Ultima Plus, and much more. Plus, for every $50 you spend, you get a chance to win a grand prize of $10,000 cash. You can also win one of 45 prizes of Farmer's Choice hams, gas and grocery vouchers, and Harris gift cards. Get holiday ready with Harris Paints, the Caribbean champions of color.
November 1st and 2nd. Get ready for Innovate Barbados, a conference like no other, delivering unique experiences and collaborative connections. Innovate for impact. Explore groundbreaking ideas, big talks from industry thought leaders, and the right mix of business with pleasure. Take the unique opportunity to book your own exclusive one-on-one networking experience with featured conference and keynote speakers in our Connection Zone. This all happens in one place, the Lloyd Erskine Sanford Center in Barbados, November 1st and 2nd. Let's meet at Innovate Barbados 2017, the premier innovation conference of the Caribbean. Secure your space at innovatebarbados.com. Innovate Barbados. Register now.
Do you want audience numbers? Over 140,000 people are watching Morning Barbados and the evening news. 6 out of 10 top radio personalities are found right here at the CBC. CBC delivers the audience you need.
The United Nations World Food Programme is assisting hundreds of Dominicans with food rations. Head of Emergency Coordination, Mark Renald de la Motte, says up to 3,000 people will be assisted from 40 communities. Last Wednesday, the program received 318 metric tons of mixed food commodities. The nutritionally balanced rations should last 1 month.
Per person is 5 bags of rice of 2.2 kilograms each, 3 bags of beans of 0.8 kilos each, 4 cans of sardines of half a kilo each, and 14 ounces of oil. Now for a family of 5, that amounts to 25 bags of rice, 15 bags of beans, 20 little cans of sardines, and 1 gallon, 1 bottle of vegetable oil.
Mr. de la Motte says the second phase will target settlements based on needs.
So based on high poverty rates, based on high level of damage, based on livelihoods, those settlements that depend mainly on agriculture. And in those areas where the markets have had pipeline breaks, where the market still had difficulties in reactivating, and where cash assistance is not yet possible to phase it in, so where the food is still needed at least for the first month.
In Guyana, 3 teenagers could be charged for attempted robbery, and a well-known businessman shot one of them who was allegedly trying to rob him. We get more in this report from Travis Chase.
Police Sunday night took businessman Bishnarain Sanjay Prasad into custody after he shot and injured this youngster Turkine Sewall. Nightly News telephoned Mr. Prasad on Monday. His story is that he pulled his motor car to the shoulder of the road at Turkine near the seawalls since it had encountered engine problems. Prasad said that as he was about to call for a tow truck, he noticed that this youngster was approaching him from the seawalls. Prasad said he repeatedly warned the youngster to back off, as he, Mr. Prasad, was not in need of his help. It is Prasad's story that the youngster continued to advance towards him and that the youngster pulled what appeared to be an ice pick and tried to grab a gold band from the hand of Prasad. Prasad reportedly drew his licensed weapon and discharged 3 rounds, one of which struck the youngster. Now, police say that the file in the matter is being prepared. The youth who was shot hails from Sapphire. He was accompanied by a 15-year-old boy from Ling Avenue and a 15-year-old girl from Linden. Prasad was released on station bail.
The St. Lucia Diabetes and Hypertension Association is preparing for the annual observance of Diabetes Awareness Month in November, and officials are urging the public to support the event. It's the association's first month of activities since becoming a partner in the groundbreaking St. Lucia Public Health Diabetes Project.
Diabetes Awareness Month is observed annually in November. It's an opportunity to speak to a global audience about the alarming rise in diabetes around the world. For 2017, the St. Lucia Diabetes and Hypertension Association is hoping to sound the alarm and let the public know that where diabetes is concerned, with 130 amputations a year and almost 100 people waiting for dialysis, it simply cannot be business as usual. The association will launch its month of activities soon, and its president says the events are geared at getting people to take action to prevent the disease and give those with diabetes the tools and information needed to manage the disease.
We want to do island-wide campaigns, awareness, let everybody know that diabetes is there, what it is, and it can affect everyone, right? So we want to do these campaigns, and the aim is to do it everywhere in St. Lucia. We always have our Moonlight Walk, which we hope everybody's going to come this year to take part in. You'll be hearing a lot more about that as we advertise. We have t-shirts, we have our normal blue lights, and we also have many TV and radio programs where we're going to talk about diabetes, talk about diabetes in the youth, diabetes in the older people. But as World Diabetes Day this year is geared towards women and diabetes.
Dr. Dorr says the association will also put the spotlight on the St. Lucia Public Health Diabetes Project, a landmark initiative by locally registered Tanisha Carib that seeks to revolutionize the understanding and treatment of the disease.
Well, sports news is up next, but first, here is a tip from Cooperators General Insurance.
This tip of the day is brought to you by Cooperators General Insurance Company Limited. Insurance the way you want it to be.
A mastectomy is the surgical removal of the breast, and it is used with larger tumors. This tip is brought to you in association with the Barbados Cancer Society Breast Screening Program, celebrating its 15th anniversary.